Okay, once again, I'm unprepared, but let's hope it's better than last time. Okay, so last time I was kind of like loopy and kind of like out of it and kind of tired. It's 5 a.m. in the morning on a Sunday morning. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about subnetting Class B networks. Now, we already did Class C. Okay, we also went through and realized how to determine how many ones and zeros we need in a network based on how many networks we need and based on how many hosts we need. Okay, so you have a combination of I need 15 networks with 32 hosts. Okay, you can able to do that. All right. We also learned that wherever our one stop, that's where our host is going to be as far as our magic number instead of doing the math of the 256 minus whatever our ones add up to. Okay. We also learned that we have to go from right to left, from left to right. Okay. As far as adding our ones, as far as borrowing bits. Okay. So a class B network. Let's kind of switch this here. Let's bring this. Actually, let's do it this way. Let's bring this down. All right. So a Class B network is going to be the first 16 bits. Okay. Now I'm not going to actually teach you how to do a Class A because once you learn how to do a Class B, okay, Class A will be easy for you, and plus it'll give you something to actually try to figure out and do your own reading on in the first place. And plus, it makes me extremely lazy and not have to do less work. Okay, now, all right, okay, so we're going to start off with a 172.16.0.0 network. Okay, now we're going to borrow bits up to the 64th. Okay, which is going to be a 192 network mask. Okay, now, so that means we're going to borrow 2 bits here. Wherever you are borrowing the bits from, that's where you are to allow to do your subnetting at as far as the numbers changing in the actual octet. Since we're starting to borrow our bits in the third octet, in the third octet of our IP address is where our numbers are going to change. A lot of people get confused and start doing it at the last octet and working their way backwards, and that's not how it's done. Okay, just remember the ones that you're starting to borrow the bits from, that's where the numbers start to change, especially when you're dealing with the Class A network and you got 3 spots. Okay, so now we're going to change this to a .0. Okay, and this is a 64.0, and this is going to be a 120, no, 92, no, 128. And then, see, I can't even do math this morning. Now, you think as much something that I've done, I remember these numbers, but I don't. Plus 64. And the reason why I don't is because you get lazy over time as far as using the calculator, because instead of worrying about your math, you're actually knowing that you're going to go back and pay attention to it via a calculator. Okay, now let's get rid of these. Oops. Okay, so now pay attention to what you're doing, because it's not just this number that we're going to change when we're doing the broadcast address. It's this one too. Okay, because this is our last octet. Okay, so that's actually going to be 255. Okay, and obviously we're going to minus one number here, which is a 63. Okay, so it's going to be 63.255 is going to be our broadcast address. Okay, this is going to be 127.255. This is going to be 191.255. Okay, do not forget your other placements. So when you go and do your class A, don't forget you got 2 other spots to do. Okay, if you are not using, if you're only using your second octet as far as what you're changing. Okay, so just do not forget that. All right, and do your own reading so you can figure out where the second or the third octet actually becomes, because it's going to be a 255 as well, because you're actually just minusing 1. All right, so if you're subtracting 1 from a 0, it's going to be 255, okay, with your broadcast address. Okay, and this one's going to be 255.255. Okay? 254, 191.254, 127. 254 and 63.254. Okay, so I want you to understand how many networks this is possible, because we are actually going from 1 octet, okay, and that means that gives us 250 some address networks, okay, at 254 hosts each. Okay, that's a lot of IP addresses. All right, so 0.1, okay, is going to be our first valid host. 64.1, okay, 128.1, 192.1, okay, and that's it. Okay, so that means 116, our first network, is 0.0, okay, technically 0.1 because they're valid hosts, okay, to 172. That's 63. That's 255. Okay. Our next network is going to be 172. That's 16. That's 64.1 to 127.254. And this is 254. Okay. So now, if I have a 192.168.16.2, I can't talk to the 192.16.64.2. Okay, not going to be able to happen. All right, unless I make it a class or a /16. Okay, so now this CIDR, oops, is going to be 172.16.0.0 for the first network now, okay, and that's going to be a /18. Okay, here's our 16 bits, 17, 18. Okay, our second one is going to be a 172.16.64 dot 0/18. Okay, so now that's pretty much it. Okay, that's how we actually subnet a Class B network. See, the first lesson was kind of rough, all right, and the second one's not so bad. Okay, so just always remember, guys, be strong, be determined, be Cisco.